Hey there, and welcome back to Real Estate Renovators, the show designed to help real estate agents navigate through the proverbial shitstorm. My name's Jason Cunningham, and there's a bit of excitement in the studio this morning. But before I introduce our special guest, a good friend of mine, let me go to the right, my co-host, none other than the Persian princess, MA Legal's very own, Rex Afrasiabi.
How are you, Jace?
I'm good, sir. How are you, young man?
I've got a bit of concussion, but I'll be all right.
Well, that's nothing new there. To my left, this country's #1 recruiter, your favourite and mine. We know her as Kmart, Chanel Mackesy from Titanium Recruitment. G'day, Chanel.
Hey, Jace, how are you?
Very good. How are you?
And why haven't we brought up your new nickname?
What new nickname?
Well, we had a few. Big Bean Counter was one of them.
Yeah.
So Counterlot.
So,
Yeah. So, I mean, I just wanted to, I guess, bring to everyone's attention that it's not just Kmart and Persian Princess. We've also got Sir Counterlot over here.
Sir Counterlot.
now, if I was here for the kids playing at home, don't say Sir Counterlight too quickly because you could get yourself in a bit of trouble. Now, we can never forget our favourite from Brisbane. We don't know if he's a real man or not still. His name's Peter Quiller. G'day, Pete. How are you, sir?
Hi everyone. Hey Jace, thanks for the intro.
Mate, very crisp haircut coming from you. Let me just say that. Always good to see you, Pete, and I can't wait till we can see you in person. Now, today's guest is a very good friend of mine, a client of our firm at the practice, and is a bit of a rock star in the PM space. I've got to know her quite a bit over the last 5 or 6 years, and every time I bump into her, she's taking her business to the next level, and her name is Di Coad. G'day, Di. How are you, my friend?
Hey, good. How are you?
That was a bit of an awkward handshake since we've known each other for such a long time. So, Di, I want to share with our audience some of the... and I know you're a person that doesn't like to be pumped up too much.
No.
But what you've got to share and how you run your business, I find really intriguing.
Okay.
And I've sort of challenged you over our journey as to how you're doing things.
Yes.
And you say, no, Jason, it's all about the process. It's all about the process. Why don't you share with us how you got into real estate, where your business is at, and what's happening in your world?
Yep. So getting into real estate was by accident, actually. It was straight out of school, TAFE, and got a job as a receptionist at a real estate office. So it was very much back then, it wasn't recruiters back then, it was the local paper. Yeah. And there was ads in the paper. And so went through the paper with my mum and went, oh, that's good, reception job. Yep, I think I'll go for that one. And got the job as receptionist and worked my way up, sales secretary, and worked in sales, and basically the eyes just popped with real estate. So it was just the excitement, the rush. Back then when I started in 98 was, we were doing 20 auctions a weekend and, setting up for 20 auctions, and they were all selling over reserve, and the excitement of it all, the rush, you work 7 days a week, and just everything about it I loved. So that's how I got into it.
I just had a little feeling of nostalgia. I went to look at Chanel. Chanel doesn't know what a newspaper is because so in the old days, back when there was black and white TV, right? No, but you remember, Rex, you open the paper.
I'm not that old either.
Did newspapers get delivered by carrier pigeon back then?
Hang on.
Did you drive a milk cart?
Yeah. Two more Instagram pictures.
I'm not as old as him, don't you?
I'm not, trust me, I know.
Hang on, aren't I the one that's meant to give shit on everyone?
No, I did it on you.
No, but when you said about opening the newspaper and highlight, I remember okay, Pete, you and I are about the same vintage, but I remember opening the newspaper, sitting with my mum. That's a really cool story.
Yeah.
And so you got a job as a receptionist, is that right?
Yes, and then went through to be sales secretary, office manager from there, and then that was for 3 years with a franchise. So we opened the office basically.
Whereabouts was that?
In Carnegie.
Uh-huh.
So I was behind as the doors opened. I was there as the receptionist, and then worked my way through and. As the business grew, so it was, like I said, 20 auctions a weekend. So it was pretty full on. And
What gave you the impetus to jump into business yourself?
Opportunity.
Yeah.
So the opportunity came up to buy a rent roll.
Yeah.
So that was what it wasn't pre-planned.
Uh-huh.
I didn't have a plan to do that. I was a department head for quite a while, and the opportunity came up and.
One of the things that Pete and I work on together with a lot of our clients is Pete's really big to strategic planning. And
sorry, Pete.
The plan I've seen from you has got a lot of circles and a few arrows and shit. Hopefully, I might make it fit. You know what I mean?
Pretty much.
But it's worked out pretty well.
It's worked out well. So it's taken a lot of hard work, So a lot of hours, a lot of weekends. Not a lot of downtime. As most real estate agents will tell you, there's not a lot of downtime.
How long were you in the real estate industry before you opened up your own business?
So I've been around nearly 23 years, and I bought the business 8 years ago. So what's that? 15 years.
15 years.
Yeah.
And that's very noble because I
Yeah.
think now the generation that we're in now is that they want to open their own businesses when they're 21. They've got 6
Yes.
months of experience.
Yes.
Bang, they want to open their business.
Yep.
So just for our audience, I mean, 15 years
Yep.
of working in the industry and working your way up to then open a successful business.
Yes.
You've got all that experience, that
Yes.
backbone behind you, which
Yep.
is huge
Yeah.
in comparison to a lot of agencies now.
Yes, and I worked for a lot of agencies in the meantime, so I got to see a lot of the way a lot of the different businesses run. So
And your transition from, like you said, receptionist, sales assistant, and then
Yep.
property management, and then head of departments? What was
yeah,
that
so head of
transition like?
department. Well, BDM actually. I
okay.
jumped straight into BDM. So because I'd worked in a sales department, I jumped straight from sales to BDM, then to property management, which was
As a BDM in property management, did
Yeah.
you even know how to do the property
No.
management? Okay.
No, but maybe the employer's watching. But no, I didn't know. But I didn't know, and I learnt. I'm a learn on the job. Quick learner. But I travelled a lot as well. So I worked around Australia. So I did do my study. So I've got my full licence down the East Coast. So I've got Queensland, New South Wales, and Victoria, and I've got my agents rep in South Australia and WA. So I worked my way around. So I travelled a lot.
So
I got
the
out of
15
Melbourne.
years was across
Across the
East
country.
Coast.
Across
Yeah.
the country. Yeah.
So you've worked in businesses where you think that they've run them really well, and then you've worked in businesses that have run them really poorly, and then you've put these together and you've opened up your own business. What's an example of a really poorly run business that you've worked for?
So really poorly would be too many properties loaded onto the one property manager.
Yeah.
So having a property manager do end to end, like everything that from doing the advertising right through to your entry condition report, to your leasing, your entry report, your handling of the clients, to your vacates, everything all the way through. I found that and you loaded them up with far too many properties.
And they're spread properties as well? Would you
So-
say
and
that's
spread
scattered
properties.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
your ideal office would be separating the role out, separating the PM role, and having
Task-based is how I do it.
Task-based.
That's how I do it now.
There's a lot of controversy around task-based.
No, there is.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I find intriguing about how you run your business, and
Yep.
we've had many conversations about where you're taking your business to the next level, and you've got
Where
quite
you've made me cry.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
the tears will come out. That
I
was
want to
just
hear more about this.
No, it's
What
when-
did he do?
I handed over the invoice.
That too. Yep.
No, one of the things that I like to do when I work with my clients is I want to have a relationship with you. And,
Yep.
and I think the more honest and raw and authentic our relationship can be, that's when the truth comes out. And so we did have a few tears at times, Rex. But
Did you cry as well?
yeah, I'm often crying. But I want to get back to how you run your organisation. I know your team make up a very important part of your
100%.
your business.
100%.
And we were talking about, how many properties should each property manager have, and then you told me about the task base, how you run your organisation that way via tasks.
Yes.
Can you share with us your insights into that and why you think that works?
Yep.
And also, I wouldn't mind touching on the role of your VA, whose name is Josh. But is also a girl.
Yes.
Yeah, which
Correct.
is interesting.
Yes. Coad Real Estate's diverse.
Has he always
Yeah.
been a girl?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's from another country, and
Yeah.
that's just his English adopted name.
Ah.
Yeah. So let's get back to the task base. So tell me how that works.
Yeah, so task-based is I looked at ways that what we did well, what the team did well, what we didn't do well, and what we basically drew up a mud map, if you like, of property management. What are our roles? What do we do every day? So we do arrears, and we do leasing, and we do this, and we do BDM, and you've got hundreds of tasks that you do for any one client. And so what we did was I looked at, addressed it all, and then said to the team, what are your strengths? What do you like doing? What is it that are you good at? What do you enjoy? It's actually come down to what do you enjoy?
Yeah.
And so I've got a property manager that works for me, and she loves maintenance. And to be honest, I hate maintenance.
Yeah.
So I don't enjoy it. I don't do it well because I don't enjoy it. And it's one thing I'll push to the side and say, that can just, I'll deal with that. It gets a bit, ugh. But then I found someone that worked for me that loves it.
Yeah.
Gets a real kick out of helping the client and solving a problem. So when you've got a water leak, where'd it come from? What happened? Everything. She goes through the minute details of how to fix this. And then I enjoyed the leasing, the talking to the clients. Clearly, clearly, I love talking. But as everybody tells me, but I loved that side of it, and I just identified the roles that I love doing and what I didn't like doing, and what the team loved doing and what they didn't like doing.
After you came up.
Can I challenge you on this a little bit, Di?
Yeah,
I have
absolutely.
a lot of clients that actually switched from end-to-end portfolio management to task-based. A lot of my larger clients, so big portfolio management teams.
Yes.
And in theory, this process sounds great because you've got one person doing each task.
Yes.
However, what they found was, particularly with large teams, is that their turnover was enormous because one person doing arrears all day, one person doing maintenance all day. Do you think this model will work if you were to grow, triple, double your team? Do you think that this is a sustainable model, the task-based model?
I think it depends on your team
Yeah.
and what they do. So, like when you say just do arrears, obviously, we don't just do just that. Like Deanne will do the maintenance, the lease renewals, the routines. So there's quite a few tasks in that, but that's sort of, and we do crossover. I'm not saying that she just does that. We do crossover. So I consult with the maintenance as well. So the way that I run the team is I know everything's going on. So I get copied into emails. So, but that's because I've got a small team.
Small team, correct.
So I'm not sure. To answer you honestly, I don't know if it would work with a bigger team. It works with my team and it works with a small team that I've got. So it works with them. And I guess and I have actually worked in task-based as well. So I do get with your bigger clients, you do have that. And I think it does actually come down to your people as well.
Yeah.
So what they enjoy doing. And I think that sometimes you do, and I got to know them. And it's something where if you task-base it out, if they don't enjoy that task, they're not going to enjoy, and so you're going to have that turnover.
Yeah.
If they don't enjoy what
knowing
they're doing.
your team.
It's about knowing your team.
Yeah,
With your task base, your landlords, your tenants, so they're dealing with multiple people that may not know the history. So how do you keep the internal communication? How do you keep the relationships going when someone's just doing arrears or someone's just doing the rentals? And if I'm a landlord, I would have spoken to someone, then I'm speaking to someone else, someone else. And
I think because it's a small team, it works well. And so I have brought new people into the team recently. So it was always just the two of us for many years. So I'm talking 5 years, just two of us. And so that sort of worked because I was copied into every email. And I used to tell new clients, if you don't get me, you'll get her. You don't get her, you'll get me.
Yeah.
And so clients liked that because they knew that there was always one of us available. So it wasn't that they were talking to different people. It was more that we were both across the same job. So we probably doubled over a little.
And let's be honest, your names are very similar, Deanne and Di, so you think you're talking to the same person.
Yes.
Hey,
And we sound the same. So it makes it a bit hard.
one of the things that Pete works on with a lot of his clients,
Yes.
Pete uses what we call the balanced scorecard, which is your people, your processes, your customers, and financials. And Pete's really big on the process system.
Yes.
What's that, Pete? What's that system that you use?
Trello.
Trello. Can you talk to, because Pete, I know you've had a bit of experience with that software. How do you see the importance of ironing out your systems and processes so that it just becomes a regimented sort of behaviour, if you like?
Yeah, and Jason, one of the things that happens in a lot of agencies, as Chanel just said, is that it fails. And why it fails is exactly not using things like Trello. So what Trello does is actually adds transparency and actually lets everyone on the team know where our actual process is. And where task-based fails is actually where it doesn't hand off to the next person, and then that following person doesn't know where it picks up again. So in an efficiency point of view though, task-based, because you're doing one task, actually you get 30% more efficiency because people are doing one task and they're not chopping from one mindset to another.
Yeah.
So I'd sort of, with you, Di, I'd advocate task-based just purely because you then can actually employ people to their strengths as you have, because where it actually fails is putting people in jobs that they don't enjoy. And that's why we have this epidemic of turnover of property management in the industry. Have you seen this epidemic in the industry, and do you know why it's happening? Like,
100%.
we just can't keep property managers here.
Yeah, 100%, just overloading. Especially during the last 12 months, we were completely overloaded. Property managers across the board were completely, I'm on a couple of Facebook groups with property manager communities, and it's just property managers in this group.
So,
and
if it's not
overloaded.
task-based, how many properties should a property manager be managing?
When I was managing departments that had portfolio based, it was around that 120, 130 was a good number to provide that level of service that you weren't then bleeding at the other end. So I've worked for businesses where, you know, when I was a BDM, I was tasked with bringing on 20 properties a month, 25 properties a month, and then it went up to 30 properties a month. And I'd consistently bring in between 23 to 25 a month as a BDM.
Good.
And now tell me this, how do you go about bringing in?
They had a sales team.
Yeah.
So they had a sales team that you would work off, and also you'd try and work on referrals. But at the same time, at that time, that business now is doing really well, and I know they're doing really well. But at that time, they were bleeding as many as what they were bringing on because they didn't have the processes, and the staff were burning out.
So they were bringing in new clients
and
but
out the
losing
door
them.
at the same time.
Yeah, waste of time, huh?
So it was, that was at the time. But I know that business is now doing, I'm not going to name the business obviously, but I know that they're doing well now, and they've grown, and you know, they're doing really well, and it's really good to see.
Yeah.
One of the things about the property management space that I understand is that there's a fair bit of the work that's done behind the scenes. It's actually just transactional.
Yes.
And I know you've had a lot of success now with VAs and with Josh and all that sort of stuff. Can you tell us what that foray was like moving into the VA space and how you engage and utilise someone from overseas and how successful it's been for you? Not just because the labour cost is a lot lower, but how it works and the benefits you get from that.
So I wasn't aware of this, but so you got a virtual assistant.
Yes.
For people that don't know what VA is.
Yeah, VA,
Took me a while to figure it out.
Yeah.
Because of the concussion.
That's not in Australia.
No, correct.
So
I had admin people before, and I've managed admin people before in Australia. And I found it didn't work. And whether it was that I didn't have the time to train them because I'm busy running a business, that I think I had a couple of, I've had green people work for me before, and it just never worked because and I think it was based on me. I didn't have the time to train them.
So this person works for you full time?
Full time, 38 hours. Yep.
Interesting. I actually read a statistic the other day that in the next 5 years, the biggest drop in jobs will be administrators because they're all going to be offshored to the Philippines because they're more efficient.
Yep.
They don't, there's not high turnover. For the wage that we pay them, for them is like a millionaire's wage, basically in the Philippines.
Wage of a virtual assistant?
What do I pay? About $2,500 a month.
Yeah, about $35,000 a year.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they work full time, and there's really good companies. So you want to try. This is really important to know. You want to work with an ethical VA company where they're actually provided with laptops and a really good workplace culture.
Yep.
Mine has Taco Tuesday, Yoga Thursday.
Well,
we're in conversations with one at the moment. They're sourcing us back-end recruiters. So they're all going to be recruiting for us virtually and doing all of our admin behind the scenes. So we're paying less than what we'd pay for an Australian worker, less headaches, and they just work. They're just work machines. It's fantastic. But then again, it's going to cut a lot of jobs in Australia. So I don't know how much we should be promoting this, but for a business, it's so cost effective.
But it's also that they're, like you said, they're efficient. Efficient. There's no sickies. No, I'm not finding that.
No, they broke up with their boyfriends. Are they crying?
Yeah.
What
about my which you helped me find. I know.
Hi, Emily.
My VA is amazing. She does my dry cleaning, books restaurants.
Yes.
I can't live without her. I can't do anything.
Does she do any work-related stuff, Rex, or
That's work.
Does she book your dates? That's what I heard last time.
No wonder he's got concussion. So just getting back to the point there, Di. So with Josh, who works for you, did you hire her directly, or did you go through an intermediary?
Went through an intermediate.
Yeah.
So, and also because she worked at a real estate company before, so she had prior training with their company. So, and they offered training with the package as well. So, and it was more like I was saying, when I had a staff member, I physically didn't have the time to train them up to where. So I think my expectations up here, and the staff I were getting were like here, that sort of range.
They train them all as well.
Yeah. They train them up. Yeah.
So what you pay for a green entry-level person, say on average, the Australian minimum award is what, 43,000, 43 to 45,000. You get a fresh out of school, basically, person. Whereas a VA, they're actually trained in whatever industry you want to find them in.
That's right.
And they're provided with ongoing training as well.
Training.
It's fantastic.
I think also it depends on the person. So for me, when I engage with one of my team members, I like to actually talk to them. I like to see them. I like to show them on the job. I am a person that doesn't have a very large attention span, as we know, and so I wouldn't have the time to tap out an email and say, "Oh, this is what I want you to do." I just sort of walk over and say, "Hey, Emily, hey, Ali, hey, Georgia, this is what I want you to do." So I think it depends on the person
Correct.
as well. I mean, I know.
Yeah.
And the business, what you need them for.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, during lockdown, I really struggled not being able to go and communicate with people and Zooms and team meetings and all that sort of stuff. I lost my shit, right? Whereas some people, that's the lane that they swim in and they actually really enjoy it. And I know Di has, I was hearing you before saying I was CC'd on every email. For me, that is anxiety overload.
Yeah.
Because I just get too many emails.
No, but that was good for me. For someone like me, that was
Yeah.
good because I knew that everything was being done. I didn't have to question. I didn't have to sit there at night and go, did they get hold of that
I like
client?
to be CC'd on everything too.
And I'm like,
yeah.
did they contact that client? Did I miss something?
Yeah.
No, I've seen everything. I've only now gotten to the point now where I've gone, take me out of it. I don't need to see everything because the team have been with me long enough that I've gone, there is too many emails. I do that. I don't need to see every single maintenance and everything like that.
Yeah.
But what I did find was with my landlord clients, because obviously I'd bought the rent roll and they were my clients and they're the ones that I wanted to know they were being looked after and serviced because it's about the people as well.
talk to you about
yes, it's
your
about processes, but it's about people.
Rent roll acquisition? Because I hear
Nah.
it didn't quite go
Next.
to plan.
It's quite a harrowing story,
Yeah.
because you've gone
Yes.
through the
What not to
absolute
do.
ringer.
So just so there's two people that know about it and everyone else doesn't. So share with us what happened.
Yes. So
sure
I
you
bought
know
a rent
about
roll.
Yeah, well,
I bought a rent roll and the opportunity came up. You asked me before. The opportunity came up to buy this rent roll.
And you didn't use lawyers.
And I didn't use lawyers. I used a template
Wow.
from a trainer. I used a template. It was great. From a lawyer. We had it run over by accountants. Not
us. Whoa, whoa,
Not you. I looked at you, but no. We came to you after other accountants. No good.
Yeah.
So I had it looked over by people, but not lawyers. So if you're buying a rent roll, anybody, please have it looked over by a lawyer after what I've been through.
Yeah.
So it was something where opportunity came up. I'd left one job and walked around the corner, put an offer in. I knew this person wanted to sell the rent roll. Put an offer in. We pulled it together over about 6 months or so, and it was horrendous. The process was horrendous. So I basically just went in at the ground, and I had to learn the clients, and it was already not being managed well. So there were a lot of clients already on the edge, ready to go out the door because it wasn't being managed. They were overloaded. Similar to the question you asked me before, was they were overloaded with too many properties and not enough support from the director, from the sales director. So the director of the business didn't have any experience in property management. He just had the team run it. Sorry, Pete. Sorry.
Hey, Joey, you speak about the fact that it was poorly run.
Yes.
And you come in as a professional PM solution. Was that somewhat of a positive to the landlords? Was that like at the end of the day, did you look like this, the great PM?
Yes. Yeah. Because they went, actually, you know what you're talking about. You know how to talk to us. It was about how to talk to us. It wasn't about, yes, we talk about processes and things like that. I'm doing that more now.
Yeah.
But when I was coming into a rent roll that was being badly run with inexperienced staff that didn't have the support, wasn't their fault. They didn't have the support or the training.
But did they have the condition reports and bond authorities and all the...
I went through and did an audit of it all, and I found
After acquisition?
You didn't know.
no. Well,
So no due diligence.
bit of both. Yeah, didn't do the due diligence as well as I should have. I look back now and go, oh, wow. How did we get through that?
But then what happened,
it puts you in good stead for the next acquisitions that you've made.
Yes, exactly. It did. Yes. I learned what not to do.
Yeah.
I was the queen of what not to do.
Yeah.
I was the queen of
So there's worse than happened. It
self-sabotage.
wasn't just that from what you told us earlier.
Yeah.
that-
Then
No,
what
I know.
happened?
Yeah.
Well, and then what happened was I wasn't aware at the time of the acquisition that the rent roll, other people had the rent roll, copy of the rent roll, and the clients.
Oh, that's
so
always
I didn't
fun.
know that. So ex-staff had a copy of the rent roll. So an ex-staff that had a beef with the person that I bought the business from, so they actually had a beef with him, ended up affecting me.
Did they take clients?
They took clients. So
How many?
60,
Ouch. And how many did you buy?
180.
Oh, that's
So
a yummy
third.
feeling. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So that was tough. That was when I say horrendous, that's how it was horrendous.
And there was no retentions?
No.
Or
No retention,
restraint
no
of trade
clawback.
on employees
So basically,
or-
nothing. Well, the employee that had the rent roll had already left.
But what we would always recommend our clients to do is not just the retention and stuff, but a restraint of trade by key people in them.
Yes, but I did
company.
Exactly, and I would highly recommend that to anybody now buying a rent roll. But I didn't know at the time. I'd run rent rolls and I'd run divisions and everything, but this was a whole new aspect to it.
I've got to say this. Sorry. One of the most endearing qualities that you bring is your authenticity and your ability to share that with people that are listening. A lot of people wouldn't have the courage to share that. A lot of us don't have the balls to say, "Hey, I fucked this up."
Yes,
right. But you stand here with conviction and say, I bought 180
properties.
That was one of the hardest words I've had to say. So you bought 180 properties under management.
Yes.
And in a short time, 60 of them went away to someone else.
Yep.
The 120 that were left, the integrity of that database wasn't there. It was like a...
Scrambling. I was scrambling. So I spent a good 3 years scrambling.
Yeah.
Because managements, there was a lump of them that went, and then there was a few more and a few more and a few more, and I was, guys, what are you doing? You're gonna send me broke. Like, what do you get out of sending me bankrupt? Like,
did you speak to them?
Yeah, I spoke to the BDM, and what do you get out of sending me bankrupt? Your beef is not with me; it's with the person that I bought it from. It's not with me. Like, what do you get out of this? What joy do you get out of sending me bankrupt? Nothing. There's no joy in that. I'm sorry. If you get joy out of that, great, but I don't get any joy out of that. Out of sending somebody else bankrupt, it doesn't happen. And I've owned it a month, and then I had other agents bagging me out. I had other agents approach me to go a month in. I'll buy your rent roll then, because they wouldn't sign the commercial lease of the office over to me. So then because of that,
so it wasn't even conditional lease transfer.
No, nothing. He wouldn't sign it over. No one signed it over to me, and then they went in and we'll buy the rent roll from you. I went, I'm sorry, do you think I'm stupid?
Yeah.
Like I said, I felt a bit stupid at that point. There was a few stupid things that had happened, but I said, do you think I'm stupid? You've gone from this business, as in this brand name, to me as a brand name, to another brand name in a month. What do you think? I would write a clawback in. I'd learnt my lesson by that point. And I said, as if I'm going to do that and lose more clients because I don't want to go through another change.
Yeah, that's right.
Another rebranding, if you like.
Pete, have you seen this often? I know you do a lot of transactions in this space and helping agents buy rent rolls. Have you seen these sort of things happen before?
This discussion today is unfortunately very, very common. And it's for those things that Rex touched on, is that in most transactions that we see that go wrong, it's because they don't have the right legal protections in place. So, I think, Di, you probably, next transaction you've done, you've obviously had the right documentation in place.
Yes.
But I think also what we need to learn from this, and anyone watching this, is that as a buyer, these things are things that sellers should be getting ready right from the stage of building their business. And the things that you talk about that weren't there, Di, I bet you got in place now. And when you come to retire, the person buying your rent roll, will have the right documentation.
Can I ask, Di, did you just not know to do all these things prior? You just didn't know. It wasn't that you went through the wrong people, you just didn't know.
Didn't know.
Yeah, okay.
But wouldn't it be good if we lived in a world where everyone behaved ethically and had integrity and just didn't want to rip people off? I mean, without disrespect to your industry, I mean, we'd all prefer not to go legal. One of the reasons that I use MA Legal and have Rex on my side is really, I don't want to have to, we don't ever want to go to court, but we want to make sure that the contract we put in place is airtight and scares the other person enough not to do the wrong thing. But wouldn't it be good if everyone, picked up one of those 10 commandments, and without getting all too religious on you, but wouldn't it be nice to just do unto others as you would like them do unto you?
Well, speaking of doing one to others, Di, you mentioned the impact Jason's had on your business now.
Yes.
Using his company and him as a business coach. How did that sort of transform your business? Because you mentioned Jason set goals for you that you were like, no chance. And then you mentioned to me before Jason arrived, we were talking about you, Mr. Ready as a Bernie.
Well, because normally you say nasty things about
I know, can you talk me through what impact Jason and the practice have had on your business?
Amazing. Like the practice it was like I don't even know how to say it without getting emotional. It was like a bright light. Like it was just a bright light where I felt like I'd been used and abused. Like it was just, people saw opportunity in me and saw that, she's just a dumb girl. She's just a dumb girl on her own. And people bagged me out. Like it got back to me through my clients about the other agents. So they were other agents are our competitors. But at the end of the day, they were nasty. And it was just, and unfortunately, I had accountants take advantage of me. I had other people take advantage, and they would send me invoices for not doing any work. And then I actually how I met Jace was at a body corporate seminar.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So you were talking at a body corporate seminar, and I'd met my husband in this whole thing. I met my husband when I was going through this mess as well. So the poor bugger stayed around. So
if they accept you at your worst, that's what they say.
Exactly. So, but it was something that I had a lot of people, and actually, to take a step back, I trusted the wrong people. So it wasn't even that I sort of did know about retention clauses and things like that, but I'll actually also elaborate on that a little bit, was I bought the rent roll for cheaper than what it was worth. So I knew that as well, that I bought it for cheaper than what it was worth and what it was valued at. So there was also, that was why we didn't put the retention in, but also the person I bought it from, I knew there was going to be no clawback. There was no money there. There was no, I was paying out his debts.
Retention should work. You don't pay him. You keep it in a trust account at settlement for a period of time, the retention period. What you should also
I know that now.
Is get the key employees to sign a separate restraint deed so they can't go do anything. And if they do, you sue them. And in that, you put the multiplier you purchased it from. So if someone breaches a restraint, you're going to prove what the damages is.
Yes, of course.
If it's an agreed damages clause incorporated into that deed, you know what you're going to sue them for. It makes your job so much
And Rex, I've got to say, this is a really important point, right? And most of us, so what Di has done, she's bought from somebody else knowing that person is not going to rip her. She wasn't aware that she needed to protect herself from the employees of that person.
No, as the employee. At any one time, we do a bit of work for real estate agents. At any one time, we've got about 5+ cases against agents who have left their employers and poached rent rolls,
and that's
or
sad.
sales,
Sorry,
or
that's sad.
employees, or set up a competing business.
Very common,
It's so common.
It's so common, and it's so sad. Like I say, it actually is sad. That's disheartening that you say you got 5 cases at any one time. That's really disheartening.
Hey, Di, I want to have a little bit of a positive note, and thank you for being so authentic and sharing. You are a beautiful person, you know, and you and I both got a little bit emotional. I got emotional because Chanel was being nice to me, which is that's a new thing for me. But I want to share with our viewers the journey that you've taken and the conversations we had around your pricing structure. And remember back in the early days when I was saying the small, medium and large, and you know, if you're going to provide a premium service, then charge a premium price. So you had that offering where it was the base rate for just the bare bones of it when you just did a transaction, and then the next level and the next level where you did everything for your customer. Talk to us about how successful that was, but then how you took it to the next level with the Airbnb stuff.
Airbnb's been very interesting. So doing the short stay managements.
Sorry, can I interrupt? So you have a short stay.
I do.
So
part of the business as well. I do everything.
You do?
I
For
basically,
your landlords?
Yes,
Okay.
So I do. So I'm not a standard, now, I'm not a, run-of-the-mill, generalised real estate office. Like, yes, my name of the real estate is my Coad Real Estate, but it's not. I do, the way I've structured my business in the background now, because I spent 3 years scrambling. So what I was saying before was I was scrambling to keep the clients at that point. And then there was no way I could grow. And I ended up getting a mentor before I met you, had a mentor that does rent roll growth, and she was very good with my mindset and worked on my mindset as to what was my blockages and why wasn't I growing, and it was because I was scrambling to keep the business and not go bankrupt and everything. So I had an office, I had the staff, got rid of the office, got rid of the staff, moved home 5 years ago. So 5 years ago I started working from home. My competitors said, silly girl, you know, she can't do it. You need an office. You need a shop front to run a real estate office. And I went, okay, you watch me. Like, you watch me do this. And it was that determination, and that's what drove me. So actually, I didn't answer your question properly before, was what drives me is proving other people wrong. It's helping people, but also proving other people wrong when they say that I can't do something. It's a challenge. They say I can't do something, you watch me. You watch me do that.
I bet you can't do 100 push-ups.
You watch me. But it's something that it's you watch me do that because you've said I can't do it. I'm going to do that.
Do you think, Di, as a female in real estate, people almost expected or wanted you to fail?
Back then, yes. Back then, now not so much. I wouldn't say now. And I don't generally do the differential, like the male-female. But back then, yes, because my competitors there was a lot of bigger directors, like male directors, that wanted to see me. You know, oh, she's a young girl coming in, she can't do it, she can't come back. She's not in the area as long as we've been here. We've been here 30 years. Yeah. We've got the market share, we're good, she can't compete. Yeah. And so there was an element of that. Yeah. And I was getting that filtered back through my clients. So it wasn't getting filtered to me, it was filtered back through the clients.
So they were trying to poach your clients,
yes,
were they?
Yeah. So, and it was something where back then, yes, I'd 100% that they wanted to see me fail. Because I didn't have the market share. I wasn't as established as what they were. It was very old school in the area that I was in.
Sorry, what was that, Pete? What was that, mate?
Di, can we just reverse back to that Airbnb conversation you were having before?
Yes.
A lot of people say, they stick to resi or they stick to commercial. Why did you diversify from an income point of view? What was your strategy around diversifying to Airbnb?
Go back to what I said before, there was no strategy. It happened.
Your honesty is just so warming.
There really wasn't a strategy. It was one of my clients said to me, hey, Di, do you do Airbnb? I want to switch my property over to Airbnb. Would you look after it?
So Di, is it maybe not so much that you didn't have a plan, but do you have a people-focused or client-focused business, and that you meet the demands of your customers? Like, so that I think needs celebration in the fact that you actually listen to your customers, where a lot of businesses don't.
Yep. Yes, exactly. And like you're saying before, yes, I'm process driven. We're task based to a point. You know, we do all that, but also at the same time, it's very much dependent on the people that we look after. Yeah. And I've doubled the business in the last 12 months based on all referrals. So no marketing. I don't even have a website at the moment. Sorry, I don't have a website. Yeah. So I'm not a flashy agent like I think we said before. You know, you
said you want to stay off key. You don't want to be in the spotlight. You want to be behind the scene. Why is that?
I just don't feel that I'm I'm the girl from Dandenong.
And your business is all referrals.
I'm the dandy girl. I'm not the flashy. I want to help people. Yeah. So the goal of my goal is to help. It's, you know, if a client wants my help, I'm there to help. You know, you told me off, I think the start of this year, I was doing Airbnb cleaning. So I was out there cleaning, changing beds and doing stuff. I was doing it myself because I couldn't find reliable cleaners. So I was out there changing beds. My laundry was full of Airbnb linen. Wow. And I'm the director of an agency who's doing quite well, but I went, but my client need the beds changed. So I've got to go and do that. I've got to go and drive and do that because that's what the client wants of me. And they're expecting that service from me. So I went out there and did it.
And I think that's one of the reasons why you're such a great boss and a great leader, because you don't expect your team to do anything that you wouldn't do.
No, 100% not.
Every now and then I do have to pull you up and say, hey, Di, I don't think you're getting a heap of value by washing those sheets. No. You can find a cleaning laundry service that might be able to do it just as good. Who would have known, you know? But I think the other thing that epitomises the way you behave is you very much learn on the job, you know?
Yes.
And I remember when Di was having this conversation about the Airbnb and what she did with her client, she goes, I'm an expert in it now. I go, how many Airbnb properties have you got? She goes, I got one, right? and then from 1 it went to 5, went to 10, and then we're talking about my property in the city. She goes, Jay,
why haven't you done it?
Why haven't you done it? Yeah. And she goes, and the benefit that exists, you know, when there's that whole win-win piece, you know, when the customer wins and you win, because what happens is what Di charges is a lot more than the 8.5% or whatever. Yep. What do you charge? 14, 15%?
I can imagine now, particularly post-COVID, the inner city market, Airbnb is going to be bananas, and you're already a step ahead because it's hard to lease out the properties in the inner city.
Definitely.
You're going to be Airbnb-ing them, making a bloody fortune.
Yeah. So I chopped and changed. So the beauty of having me doing, and what I said to clients as they were coming on, the beauty of it was I could chop and change it from short-term to long-term to short-term to long-term as the need arose. So what happened with COVID is like Airbnb died. That was it. There was no Airbnb. We couldn't travel. We couldn't do anything. So what happened was there was no demand for it. So then I said to the clients, let's put it across to long term for 3 or 6 months, and then we'll go back when the COVID is over or you know nearing an end and Airbnb starts to pick up, people can travel. Then we'll flick it back to Airbnb again. So it's you're still generating that income for your clients, but again, it comes back to the clients. It's for the clients. It wasn't about me. It was about them and what they wanted at the service they wanted from me.
Yeah.
So again, it's not like, I'm not like a lot of other agents. It's not about me.
Yeah.
A lot of agents are out there, and I'm not naming names. There's a lot of agents that go, it's about me. Look at me. Look at me. Look at the flashy car.
I think
look
that's
at
the
me.
difference.
Yeah.
You're actually
We've had
driven.
some of them on the show.
But it's something you care. I mean, money's always a reward for hard work, but
100%.
you're driven to this industry because you're genuinely, which is, trust me, I deal with them all day, every day. There are very, very, very minimal property managers or more so property managers than business owners that genuinely love what they do and care about what they do. And you can see that in everything that you say from the moment you walked in here to being on here. It's all about the client. I think
Absolutely.
that's very,
100%.
very noble and very rare as well.
And all of our business now, our growth and everything is based on the clients referring us again. So like I said, I don't have a website. Yes, I'm getting into social media, but I don't have a social media presence. But I picked up 3 managements just yesterday, all referrals. So it was something like, oh, such and such referred you here. Oh, okay, great. Yep, thanks. Yep, bang, bang, bang. It's signed up. By the end of the day, we've signed them up. And we've taken it over from another agency.
I think it's pretty easy to see, Di, one of your most endearing qualities is your authenticity. And I think, this is why I'm so keen to get Di to come on to our show. I mean, Di is who she is. I'm a girl from Dandy, right? She shared with us some amazing things that, hey, I bought a business and I fucked up. I lost a third of my rent roll in a month and I was scrambling for 3 years. I didn't know what I was going to do. Then she tells us the story about, I'm not going to have a physical bricks and mortar presence. I'm going to go and work from home. All the while she met her husband, Wayne, who was thinking, shit, what have I done here? And like all couples, they've been through various different challenges. But and this is not about a marriage counselling session, although, Rex, I've had a few of them with you. But where Di has
Wrong
come,
person to talk to about that.
yeah, correct. Where Di has come from and where she is now, and just so authentic and so humble. And what we missed is that she's doubled her business in 12 months. Now, she didn't double it from having 5 properties under management to 10. She's doubled it significantly without a website, without a social media strategy, all because she cares. At the centerpiece of what she does is the customer.
Oh, I can make me cry.
Well, it's true. Now, before we finish up, I mean, I think it's also enjoyable how you've shared with us the learnings around the Airbnb piece and how you've picked up we call it in my industry funds under management from 8% to 15 on a lot of properties. I think that's outstanding and a great way to grow your revenue. But before we finish up, our friend from Brisbane has got. We've got a little famous segment. Everyone, we get a lot of emails about it. Pete's cheat sheet. Over to you, Big Petey.
Thank you, Jason. So for this episode, it's all been about new business. So what we've put together is a resource around new business, focusing on prospecting. It's going to be available on realestaterenovators.com.au to download. We hope you really enjoy it, and thank you for all the feedback for the cheat sheet. We've been trying to work through what you've requested. Keep on sending those requests through. We love the feedback, and we'll definitely try to bring more resources to you every episode.
Oh, thanks, Pete. Now, I can't wait until we actually get to meet Pete. I want to know.
I met him. I was there last month.
No, you did move. I just still don't know if he's a real person. Coad, he's real?
He's
real.
real.
Hey, Coad, you've been a star. Thank you so much for
Thanks
sharing.
for having me.
Thank you, Dad.
Thanks for having me.
And Chanel, it's always a pleasure to see you, though.
Always a pleasure.
See you next week, guys.